end of the year. It's been a terrific year for us in the Temple of Truth. A lot has happened, and now, can you believe it? It is just 4 days to Christmas and then 10 days to the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025. It's been so wonderful to have had all of you on Mayegun's Diary Politico. I know I have similar message I'm going to deliver at the end of the year, but it's unbelievable how fast life goes at times and how much of this is being taken away or wasted away by the criminals in charge of Nigeria. How much of people's lives are being wasted away and how fast it goes, Anyway, read the caption of this broadcast as usual. Read the description of the broadcast. Like it. Share it. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them all that Mayegun today, Mayegun is live. And thank you. Tonight, we have a sweet sour. It's not really sweet sour. It's pure sour. While others are celebrating what they call Dirty December, I don't think it is the same for so many families in Nigeria, especially the families of the victims of the stampede in Ibadan, at Okija, as well as in FCT, Abuja. All that happened in the last 48 hours, which have seen to the sudden death, tragic death of over 70, over 70 people, including children, in Nigeria, because of the level of poverty that the APC, Egbekegbe, has brought upon that country and the people. Although the people themselves are not completely innocent, as they say, what you should be very careful of what you wish for. We have those who are enablers of bad governance, enablers of all these crooked criminals, those who continue to validate them in that contraption. But the unfortunate thing is, those who enable these criminals who have hijacked power in Nigeria and misruling and ruining Nigeria are not, the only people that are going to face the consequences of their actions. Innocent people, including those who rejected them, who did everything to reject these rogues, are going to share or are sharing in the destruction of that contraption as we speak. Economically, Tinubu and his gang have destroyed Nigeria beyond any repair. It is, again, unfortunate that there are those who believe that, they cannot be held responsible for this destruction, for this economic ruin wholly, but they are responsible for every death that is preventable in that contraption from the 2015 when they hijacked power in that contraption. So again, their supporters, their defenders, their enablers are not the only people that are going to share in these consequences. Innocent people, innocent children are now being killed every day from one tragedy to another. But again, the Tinubu and his gang, like I've said many times on this platform, they will feed you with propaganda. You will hit propaganda to the point that some of you begin to ask yourselves, are this guy talking about this same Nigeria, or they are talking about another Nigeria? Of course, they are talking about this same your Nigeria, where a lot of you are comfortable with the lies, and you probably love to also ignore the data by becoming superstitious, in the sense that you will ignore data and you begin to point to this your sky daddy, the miracle worker, or the magician, because there's nothing where God no fit do. Even when the criminals actions are pointing to a direction of ruin and destruction, economic destruction, their religious partners, the pulpit bandits, as well as the Islamic jihadists who are kind of like defending these rogues at the same time, pointing your attention or diverting your attention to something so stupid as using religion as a cover, where they are going to make you believe that, you see, if you pray very well, if you have faith, and if you have belief, whatever it is that is happening to people in Nigeria economically will not happen to you. So you have to be strong and all of that nonsense. They are the partners of these rogues anyway, where you ignore data and begin to hope on falsehood, on lies, blaspheming against that your God or your sky daddy, so to say. It's unfortunate. So on Mayegun's Diary Political, we are kind of do our best to ensure that data, which is very stubborn, data don't lie, okay? And no matter how much people try to gaslight you, blackmail you, in any way, if you stick to data, you will never be wrong. On Mayegun's Diary Political, we barely ever be wrong. We've never really been wrong, especially when we are treating the available information about these rogues, Tinubu, APC, Egbekebe, and everything about them, which reeks of lies. We've never been wrong. But you are dealing with chronic career criminals. So yesterday, Wale Idun was on channels. And this is one thing I personally also detest about the media in Nigeria. I believe that majority of them are just so daft, or they are the product of the society they have, created. You see, the criminal politicians will come on here to your studio and they will be dishing out lies, but you will be so afraid to confront them with facts, with the truth. As much as they probably have the power to shut you down, but you hold the people the responsibility of sharing the truth, the state of things. When you see somebody that claims to be the person in charge of your economy, the finance minister of the druggy call, I'm talking about Wale Idun, he is there not using data, no data, just words, talks. And you as media interviewing somebody like that should arm yourself with verifiable data, facts, rather than just listening to somebody that continue to use innuendos, a fake figure, fake data that cannot be verified by anybody. So your job as a media is to confront them with the truth, confront them with fact for fact, not fiction. Unfortunately, it seems like the Nigeria media is a platform for propaganda, and APC, Egbekebe, they have acted. Nigeria is going through hell right now. Economically, Nigeria is battling with what is called hyperinflation. How many of you can believe that when these guys took over power in 2015 to start with, the inflation in Nigeria was 7.5%. How many of you can still remember or believe that? That the Nigeria GDP, rebased economy at the time, was put at $570 billion. You had businesses that were operating in that place, right? You had jobs. People had jobs. In fact, majority of those who brought this APC, Egbekebe, to power, they used their personal money to campaign, to run campaign for APC, Egbekebe, because they had jobs. Today, majority of them have either run out of Nigeria or they have turned to Bambi Alas. the what we call the executive beggars online. Begging now became a pastime. It has become a job for so many people. 9 years after APC, how many of you remember that the inflation in Nigeria was 7.5% in 2015? The one that APC said was a terrible economy. 9 years down the line, first with Bukwari. Bukwari destroyed Nigeria economy, devalued Nigerian currency, debased Nigeria economy, crashed it into half. Baba, in 8 years, Bukwari destroyed Nigeria economy that was $570 billion worth down to 230 billion. I mean, 250 billion. Like more than half of Nigeria economy was lost under Bukwari. And within a year, that same economy under Tinubu has crumbled. Baba, Bukwari in 8 years destroyed Nigeria economy to the point that inflation jumped to 20.5% in 8 years. Do you know something? Within the space of 18 months, 1 year, 6 months, Tinubu, the Oluwole accountancy, Deloitte accountancy, destroyed Nigeria economy, Baba, from 20% inflation, which was almost hyperinflation itself, by the way, to what is now 36% inflation, 16% collapse, 16% devaluation of your own economy, hyperinflation at the highest. But guess what? The Wale Idu and Co., they have the audacity to be saying it and repeating it, that Nigeria economy is recovering. That Tinubu saved you. He saved you from economic ruin. How is that saving you? That is what you call propaganda. They will lie to your face. Nigeria Naira was 148 Naira official to $1 when these criminals took over power. At the black market, Nigeria Naira was 199 Naira to $1 when these criminals took over power 9 years ago. Today, Nigeria Naira is 1,760 Naira to $1. And guess what? Tinubu saved you. In 8 years, Nigeria Naira collapsed from 149 Naira to $1 to 610 Naira to $1. And within 18 months of Tinubu, Nigeria Naira collapsed to 1,760 Naira to $1. So he saved you. Bukwari printed 27.5 trillion Naira in 8 years. Tinubu has printed to over 25 trillion Naira in 18 months. But they saved you. They have the audacity to say that. And the guy is saying that everything is coming down now. The price of goods coming down. People are now able to afford things. And this is what you call propaganda. In the same breath, people are dying from trying to get a bag of rice. They are dying from trying to get 5,000 Naira and plate of food in an economy that is recovering. A liter of petroleum was, damn it, man, 97 Naira per liter. They said, Nigeria, what do you call it? They said it should have been 14 Naira per liter of petroleum. Nigerian refineries were working at over 55% capacity when this, I don't know if all of you even remember any of this anymore. Do you know that Nigerian refineries, Wario, partially Kaduna, this Port Harcourt, old and new refinery, do you know that they were actually like working at over 55% capacity? That Nigeria was importing 45% of its local consumption at the time. And Nigeria was paying just somewhere around the 250 billion Naira on subsidy before these rogues came in. Do you even remember that anymore? Did anybody actually still remember that? Because it's been so short a while that people have forgotten what they rejected
before they embraced these criminals. Do you remember that at all? That the subsidy in Nigeria that Jonathan was paying was between 200 and 250 billion naira a year. And the Nigerian refineries were working at over 55% capacity. Do you remember that at all? Okay, I am reminding you. It doesn't really matter anymore. Because the rogues who told you that you deserved better, what did they do? Nigeria's debt, the Nigeria's national debt was put at $13.5 billion. Today, Nigeria's national debt is over $120 billion. The exchange rate was 149 naira to $1 official. Today, it is 1,760 naira to $1. We were told 1.2 million Nigerians were displaced, living in IDP camps across Nigeria. Today, the number has grown to over 10 million Nigerians displaced from their homes, living in IDP camps. 3.5 million children were out of school 9 years ago. Today, there are over 22 million out of school children. Nigeria was generating over 8,000 megawatts of electricity, distributing over 6,000 of the same electricity. Today, 9 years after, Nigeria is struggling to generate 5,000 megawatt electricity, distributing less than 2,000 megawatt electricity. Is that progress or retrogression? A liter of petroleum was 97 naira per liter when these rogues took over. Today, a liter of petroleum is over 1,000 naira. The number of poor people in Nigeria, according to the available record in Nigeria before these rogues, was put at 67 million Nigerians living below poverty line. Today, the number is over 140 million Nigerians living below poverty line. And out of that, 120 million Nigerians are facing what is called famine, food starvation in 2025. Where is the progress? These guys they keep claiming to be sharing money, right? From paying, APC, man. You do not hate APC enough. Unfortunately, the level of their state capture is legendary. And today, they will force feed you. It's not even like something you are going to take peacefully. They will force feed you with propaganda. So much that you'll be asking, you'll probably be so lost, confused if they are talking about this Nigeria. Listen to this mofo from Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as your finance minister and the person managing your economy, to this clown, old man that is lying, criminals with confidence in that contraption.
Well, let me put it in context for you. As I was saying earlier, the first thing I will say is that things have changed. In 18 relatively short months, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has changed the Nigerian economy, has changed the Nigerian society in such a way that is now faced in the right direction, and one can see a clear path, not to just so many other targets, important targets and indicators, but even to lower inflation through achieving market pricing of petroleum products and achieving market pricing of foreign exchange. The change in the economy represents 5% saving. From now, ad infinitum, a 5% of GDP saved from being going in being wasted, being of no value to the economy, and benefiting just a few who had privileged access to foreign exchange and to subsidized foreign exchange and to petroleum products that were distributed in a very opaque manner, and of course benefiting neighboring countries that were getting smuggled petroleum products. So that saving is now going to be revenue to government that helps to not just build up the fiscal capacity of government, the government's ability to meet its spending requirements, both for social spending and infrastructure, but it changes all the metrics. But as your revenue increases, your debt service as a percentage of GDP goes down. As your revenue increases, your deficit as a percentage of GDP goes down. So the country is faced in the right direction in terms of all the metrics that you talk about, including inflation. And of course, there's major interventions in agriculture and even in manufacturing to increase supply and bring down prices. But the other way in which the society has changed fundamentally and therefore is no longer on the trajectory which you describe is in terms of the incentive framework. There's no Nigerian that wake up today and feel that his best way forward, his best way to riches or even to a good living is to have privileged access to foreign exchange allocated from central bank. That no longer exists. Similarly, no Nigerian can wake up and feel that his best chance is to get an allocation, a concession, a permit related to petroleum products and be one of the privileged people that have this access, which they can just trade the piece of paper. That was the refrain 18 months ago, that these are the ways to make it in Nigeria. Instead now, the emphasis and the incentive is on agricultural production, agricultural exports, manufacturing, and manufactured exports for the West Africa region and even for the continent as a whole. So that is the way in which the changes that have been wrought and that are being sustained but with determination, with courage and boldness by Mr. President and his administration are giving Nigerians much optimism and hope that things are definitely going to be better and in the nearest future.
Could you make any sense of that? Can anybody please make any sense of what this guy just said? What you just heard now. Can you make any sense of that? Blabbing. Like, oh my God. So when I try to want to make a sense of what he's saying, the more I try, the more angrier I kind of feel. That was supposed to be a country where you have educated people, okay? And it couldn't really make a clear, straight sentence. Then dropping fundamentally direction of fundamental. The Nigerian society has changed fundamentally. What does that even mean? What is changed fundamentally? What does that mean? Like for good or for the gutters? Now take a look. He said something like nobody can wake up anymore and think it can be allocated petrol. Who is allocating petrol to who in Nigeria? Before, I mean, have you ever heard anything like that? Like allocate petrol to people, that they can just get allocated petrol. Like who is allocating petrol to who? It says something like, people cannot just wake up and then get allocated. They think they can just get allocated dollars from the central bank. Are they still not doing it? Are they still not doing their normal round tripping? Didn't they announce that the Bureau de change in Nigeria, which according to them, they were the reasons why Nigerian naira was crashing. So therefore, they banned them, right? And then they told them to go and pay a certain amount of money so that they will get another new license issued by them, by these Tinubu's guys. And then they are celebrating sharing dollars to them, telling them how much to sell dollars. Is that not a kind of a public information? That's available in everywhere, Nabi. Were they not telling you that they distributed over 1.5 billion? They did distribute over 1.5 billion, just as recent to the Akadobi